Hello, welcome to Tarot for Our Times. This is Sarah, your medium on the go. And after my rather long video on the July forecast, and I do have to say, I don't think I've ever made one. They've always been maybe teetering on an hour, but this was like well over an hour. I was wondering if I would do one today. So I feel as though this may be a follow-up because we haven't Taco did come up quite a bit in yesterday, but there is and I did make reference to his losing of the cognitive value, but I saw the IHIP, an IHIP video today, and I just love those ladies. I curse just the way they do. Of course, I try to show a little restraint on the video, but they spoke about his dementia, which I thought, well, it's probably going into just maybe middle and going to be going into late stage. And then they showed the video from his presser following, it was in Florida, outside of Alligator Auschwitz, which is really what it is, not Alligator Alcatraz. And a woman, without having an agenda, just a very straightforward question without any emotion attached to it, asked him a question as to how long people would be held there until they get deported. Some ballpark, I guess, some guesstimation on how long they were going to be there, because, I mean, the conditions there look absolutely appalling. And before they showed the video, I have to say, they had the speech speeded up to sounding a little like Donald Duck. And they decided not to do that anymore because they wanted us to get the full brunt of how he sounded. And they were saying that was maybe just another form of sane washing, and I hadn't thought of it. Now, I understand why they did that, because who can stand to listen to him anyway? So, at any rate, I pretty much have thought, okay, his cognitive abilities are really, really getting bad, but nothing that, that I didn't expect or that shocked me. Okay, so they played this until now. So they played this video with the woman asking him how long these people would be held. And it's like what he usually says is, oh, could you repeat the first part of that question? I think there was only one part to the question. And she did it very, very plainly, very clear. You could understand every single word she said. And all of a sudden, he just went into how he liked living in Florida and then going on to New York. And I was there like, that just really blew me right away. I thought I had heard everything from him. And it wasn't what he was saying in itself that was shocking, like I'm going to pick up people that are citizens, but it was like the speech was slurred. He was bouncing from one thing to another to another. I was truly shocked. I was shocked enough to say, okay, I think I found my video for today. And didn't take me long to figure out what the cost. So I picked the title of this, A Taco Devolution into Dementia. And I have him as the King of Cups in reverse, going into the Page of Cups in reverse. Now, first, the King of Cups. He is, when he's in reverse, and I've said this so many times, with cups in reverse, it's a real indication of mental illness, substance abuse. When it's a king, it's a pretty big deal. And I guess a historical figure could be Nero, basically. The king, it may be a bit of King George the Third of England, who we broke away from. But this is a mad king, and he's dangerous. That's the whole thing. Is that it's just so unbelievable that someone like that is, I don't, nuclear codes, all of this sort of thing. So I figured he has gone into, a lot of times they say when people go through dementia, it's sort of like the second childhood, but not the more attractive parts of the second child. They devolve into a more infantile version of themselves, which is what the Page of Cups in reverse is. And it's often called, I dubbed it the titty baby card when he's in reverse, because it goes into this infantile, playing the victim, the whole, and being a big crybaby, actually. So we've got this, and the fact that he has, I find it interesting that he is in this fight with the muskrat, and I've said many times before that may be a luxury they can't afford because they have so much dirt on each other that it would be more like freezing each other out. But I would say that could be part of the mental decline too, is that this whole thing about throwing caution to the wind, or maybe just being in complete denial about if there's election for entertainment purposes, only some election shenanigans, which I think there probably were, that they both have the dirt on each other, and they've just about come out and admitted, but it's part of this infantile mentality to think, oh, well, there won't be, they don't think of consequences. I mean, I'm really the king, or my daddy's the king, or I'm going to grow up to be the king, which is what the pages are about, that I don't have to worry about consequences. And that's just mind-boggling. So I want to do a reading on how bad is this getting, and then how much longer can he last with this. This is just, I found it stunning, and it's only going to get worse. So I'm going to do a reading on how bad it is getting, and the reading itself might reveal how much longer it will last. If not, I will do a shorter reading on this or anything else that comes up that leaves some questions with the reading. But I guess this would be pretty much of a general reading. So while I've been talking, I've been shuffling right along here. So I will be doing the the Royale first, and then maybe a little bit of the Moon Garden for another reading, or that might just pop in. Who knows? Okay, so let me put this down here. And where this is at right now is okay. Interesting. We've got the Hermit in reverse. So in reverse, there's this whole thing about it. I believe he's probably afraid of being alone, and unlike his upright, the upright card, he's not going into the darkness to shine the light and enlighten people, and he sees the serpent in the road, and he's shining the light on that, knowing to step around it. This is telling me that, Taco Bell is just going to step into this poison, basically, because he's not looking. See, this guy's looking where he's going. In reverse, he is not looking where he's going. So, the energy of this is, the Five of Pentacles in reverse. I'm going to say that he's totally clueless about the help that he needs, which could very well be part of this illness. That he's totally, and he's got the best resources to do this. And I mean, at least as much as I've talked about Fetterman, who's back in the news again, is that one thing I'll give to Fetterman is that he did use the very good resources at Walter Reed. This guy, he's just going to be leaving himself out in the cold. So, but basically, both of them are so solitary cards, and he may be finding that he's a prisoner, a solitary prisoner of this illness, because even in his lucid parts, and back in the days when he was in the news in New York in the 70s and 80s when I lived there, he was pretty much on top of things, and at least gave the illusion of being a businessman, and he really wasn't isolated. He certainly hit the party scene and all that sort of thing. So I see him into kind of devolving into this whole isolated thing. And really I know deep down inside, he is afraid that his illness is following his father's. And what his niece Mary says is he's pretty much right on schedule. But the thing that this told me is it's moving fast. So it's before tarot, moving up to it. Okay, so the star. Okay, so in the before, she's getting ready to step into the water and blend the water of her intuition and the material world of both the left and the intuition and the logical brain. She's getting ready with her jugs. This guy is not anymore. I mean, I have to say that you have to give him that who is it that Hogarth, I think, said he has a kind of reptilian sort of intuition. To me, this is telling me that he's losing it. He's losing it. I would say that with this in reverse, he's got the jugs and he's standing there like, no, what do I do with these? It looks like it's getting to be that bad. So in the after tarot, we have the Two of Swords. And what this tells me is that he may have to have others thinking for him. It's in reverse. I mean, I think that she may, when this is upright, she may have handed those off to these two figures and say, I've made up my mind now. But I think in this one, there may be other people thinking for him and kind of winding him up, but he's not following their narrative. That's what's telling me. So the underlying stuff with this isolation, but this is very interesting. Okay. Ace of Wands reverse, yeah, because basically he's ill-tempered, which this can be about. He's ill-tempered, but he doesn't have that spark that he used to wow the the real estate world of New York. He never appealed to the highest denominator. He was not accepted by because he used to hang out at Democratic fundraisers. I remember from the society pages. They didn't accept him. They kind of laughed behind his back because they thought he was some kind of a crude joke, and that was pretty wounding. So, like the fires, but he was always able to appeal to a lower common denominator type of thing, probably underworld figures and this sort of thing. But ill-tempered, but at the same time, the spark has gone out. Then we have the Page of Swords, and he is the messenger. So he is trying to get his message out, but this guy is hesitant. So let's see what follows him. And this is also devolving into a lower, stage of maturity here. So then we have the Sun. Now, this isn't about being honest necessarily when it applies to him. This is probably just him saying, because this is this figure on the is it a unicorn or is very open and unfiltered. So this is just saying could be lying, but he's just saying whatever comes out of his mouth, and he feels as though he is brightening up the world. So, but these are very young people, because when you have children, they don't, that they're not disciplined enough to know that, well, this might be inappropriate to say. It's their parents that have to point that out to them. But what this is telling me, he is at that very childish, in this part of the spread, he's at that very childish point where anything will come out of his mouth, which was with that reporter. He did not answer the question at all, and that woman Pumps on the IHIP, she's a lawyer, and she was saying if this were in court and a lawyer had asked him that question, she could object and go non-responsive. And I thought, well, I never went to law school, and I certainly know that for sure. So in opposition of this, we have, Three of Cups in reverse. So, it's funny because he thinks he's winning, and there maybe need to be some, but this is very chaotic, upright and in reverse, but especially in reverse. So this is an absolute chaos of his mind, and, and as I say, for entertainment purposes only, I think, I have to go back to last year to the debate with Biden, and I felt as though he was on a cocktail where he was lifted up but mellowed out at the same time, so he didn't go off in a temper tantrum. That what this is telling me is that they may still be there, but they're not working, and and I've always felt it works for a while, but it's truly unsustainable. It just is totally unsustainable. So then we have in the conscious thoughts, let's say in his warped mind conscious thoughts, we have the Chariot. He just keeps moving along, plugging along. He feels he's moving forward, but I would have to go to how the position of these sphinxes are. They're not really moving, but he thinks that they are. So that's on the conscious level. I've got to move forward with my agenda. And then the subconscious is like King of Wands in reverse. It's the when people get dementia, that Alzheimer's, dementia, that sort of thing, one of the characteristics is having these outbursts of temper. So he's sitting on top of this in his subconscious, like this, all of this anger that, since we're seeing all these young cards, is like, here's the father figure, anger at his father, and anger that he can't control as a young child, because I don't think they bothered to do that. So this is resorting to that subconscious, maybe never good enough for his father, and it is going back to a childhood place that, of course, he never addressed. So in the past, I think before it started to get this bad, we have Ace of Cups. Never really logically thinking, but going, going by the emotion. And it's interesting because here we have because with the Page of Cups, we have the fish in the cup. And in here, that fish is jumping out of the cup, which is maybe not for the highest and the best. But what do we have swimming in? Okay, we have all those lily pads. Okay, so that this is saying that never really was that logical. It was always just sort of like emotion, emotion. And it pretty much goes back to the star in reverse, getting ready, or she's confused, like, what do I do next? I think what this is pretty much about the fact that he never knew how to blend the intellect with the intuitive. But he put on a pretty good act, but it's been emotionally driven, and with the fish coming out of water, it's like very hard for people to be around him. So this is something that happened before the dementia started to get really bad. It's sort of like the prelude to it, that he never really had a balanced mind. Okay, so moving on to the present, the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so this is the Knight of Pentacles is about the fact that he is demanding loyalty, but he's willing to pay. I don't see this as him, but I'm seeing this as a symbol of he's willing to, mercenaries because this card can be a mercenary too. And in this particular one, the horse is going slowly, but not being very careful about where he's stepping with all these branches and this sort of thing. So this is about the loyalty, and there's always money involved with this. So it's about loyalty, it's about money, and this could be, as I go intuitively into this could be about him getting paranoid about people not being loyal. So if you want to take a step back in history, if you think he was ruthless and threw people under the bus and didn't pay the contractors, yada, 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 40, 50 years ago, he's taking it right into his own world. And this is what I've been saying. I can't believe that people don't look. And it'll get worse because as he gets paranoid, he's going to throw more people under the bus. So it's the loyalty that he demands that he's unable to give himself. So going into the immediate future is we've got death in reverse. And I would say that his general, and this is of course for entertainment purposes only, but this is telling me that there may be some near-death experiences, which is what this is in reverse. This goes back to him having COVID after that real spreader event he had in the Rose Garden before the election 5 years ago. And what this is telling me is, and people have been saying, it looks like he's been having mini strokes. And, of course he's got the best care in the world, actually. But I've been having a feeling that he's been having mini strokes and possibly some cardiac episodes. So he's looking, he maybe have gotten a few glimpses in his mortality, but he really doesn't like it and he wants to deny it very much. So I would say that there is a possibility there could be more of these episodes that we don't know about, but that will explain why maybe it was like, I know he was kind of bonkers last week, but oh my God, yesterday, I mean, that's like, and I do agree with those ladies. This looks like late-stage dementia. I'll have to watch those psychiatrists and the shrinking Trump thing. So going a little further into the future, we have Judgment. Oh, this is a crazy Judgment card. Okay. with this being in reverse, with these skeletal figures, these are people who will be killed, and probably are, because of his policies, like the people starving in Africa, because he ended that with the muskrat. But you can't tell if that baby there is rising, or well, it's rising from the grave or falling into it, and that may be what he's really fearing, because in a sense, going into the world of dementia, that is kind of a death as you think of it, but he's leaving. He's not going down alone. He's leaving others in his wake, because whatever pathological, psychological things he's had, it's probably only going to get worse with this. And if he's got to leave bodies in the wake, whether they be figuratively or literally, and especially throwing people into that Florida concentration camp, it's like, when I see this in reverse, usually I think it's a fear of being judged, but I think it's kind of it's a dual thing with him, because well, he is fears of being judged by certain people on one side. Maybe it's a Gemini thing. On the other side, he doesn't care. I think it may go back to the days when he wanted to get into high society, and he really did care what those, people at the gala events at the Met in Manhattan thought of him. But as far as us rank and file people, and he couldn't care less. So that's a very, I would also say that there is a mortality. There could be what I'm starting to see is that that part of his dementia may be enacting a very unhealthy fear of death. So moving along into even further, and with tarot, it's not the easiest to say, oh, well, by, August, they're going to drop the net, which is quite possible. But let's see. Okay, so going further into this is the Hanged Man. Hanged Man in reverse. I think there may be some people trying to help him, but he will not see it that way. That which is telling me he is going to, instead of becoming enlightened or anything, he may be staying there. This also could be talking about, instead of the golf trips on the weekend, there may be some clandestine trips to Walt. They may lie and say he's going to somewhere to golf, but where in fact he may be going to Walter Reed to get psychomeds or something. This is getting really, really, really bad. So, okay, so, so in the hopes and the fears, yeah, I just see this getting worse, and whatever else, I think those two psychiatrist guys did say whatever he came aboard with, whether it's borderline personality or bipolar, whatever he may have, that may make it, dementia may make it worse. Okay, so that's what these psychiatrists in the very interesting podcast that they have. Okay, so in the hopes and the fears, we have, he's hoping that he will continue to get away with all the stuff that he has been getting away with. But the fear is those gates may be closing in on him, because it looks like those gates are on some hinges. So he may be afraid symbolically that he may not make it out of those gates with the swords intact, because he's already had to leave a couple behind. So there is still the paranoia. He does have paranoia about prison and that sort of thing. So that may be going a little bit bonkers. So I would say this is getting very, very bad, because what this down here is telling me, yeah, there could be some clandestine, psych things going, and they may have to tell him, oh, this is just a normal thing. They're going to have to tell him a fairy tale. I think that's what these cards are saying. So in the conclusion, which may need some clarifiers, well, let's see what's it. So the conclusion is, again, death in reverse. This hadn't occurred to me in any very strong way, but this is telling me that there are these mini episodes that are making him worse as far as his cognitive abilities. And I clairvoyantly see, blood clots roaming around and this sort of thing, that they are keeping a careful eye on him because, face it, even if a stroke is mild, that is something of a near-death experience. So, and this is also maybe definitely trying to cover up these episodes too. So, I want to toss a clarifier or two on this. So let's see, what do we have here? Oh, here. You can't have a reading about Taco without our old friend, the devil. The devil in reverse is saying, getting really worse, and there is some heavy-duty devil energy in his mind. But as far as him having the grip to really hold on to people, that could be slipping as we get some more of these near-death episodes. And some of them could be mental health things, too, that they're loading him up on, psychoactive drugs. But that this is telling me is that, that vote for what the majority they have in the Senate, that vote is said that when you think about how they used to rubber stamp them, that vote should not have been that close. So that is telling me that and the House, I mean, they've got a pretty decent, halfway decent majority in the House. That bill is in peril. So this is telling me that these two figures, this could be like Marjorie Taylor Greene and maybe the Muskrat, or just name some, or in the Senate it could be Rand Paul, or all of these, the possibilities are limitless. He may not have the hold on them like he used to. And I always said that when he has to watch out when they start smelling blood in the water. This could be getting bad enough. I mean, I've been done being really shocked with him but I was truly shocked. I was at a loss for words when I said that, and I'm going to put that in either the description or the comments, which is easier for me to do in the end. But I will put that IHIP video. It's only 18 minutes long that inspired this, but I wanted to go into a deeper thing about what I saw. This is telling me that he is losing the grip. Okay. So, I think, and it's kind of a follow-up to my July forecast, but I think what I'm going to do with this, in this case, is I'll do a shorter reading, but I want to see maybe a little bit beyond July about what's going on, and also that I get a sense that he's a little bit more worried about the investigations, about the legality of the election, that certain parts of New York State, and I suspect that it's going to come to Pennsylvania probably. That's probably next month's deal, but that probably is not a big boon to his mental health. But what he does to protect himself is to pretty much go into a big state of denial over this and just say, oh, well, it just isn't so. But still, the damage has been done. The bell is hard. He may try to unring the bell, but it's very hard, especially when people are bringing him the bad news about that. So I want to see kind of like where this is just a little bit of a continuation as to where this is going, and especially maybe to see what is do a pretty much shorter reading on what is the summer going to bring with this, because this is not this is just wow. I mean, when I compare even to January, forget about the campaign with the sharks and Hannibal Lecter, which was pretty bonkers, but just going from January to now, it's mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. So, going to take the Moon Garden Tarot as the base, and let's just see where we go as far as what's going to be happening with him this summer. As this progresses, which it looks like it is. Okay, so we have here, okay, the Ace of Staves. This is actually the rods, what they call the rods in reverse here. And so that is the spark going out with some temper tantrum stuff going on here. So the energy that is, which is saying that's, it's really getting worse. Okay, so then we have the Knight of Rods, which is telling me there is a message coming, messages coming through that are just going to set. It's interesting with all these rods because it's fire, and it's with him it could be related to temper tantrum. So there could be a message delivered to him, and they're not, in a way that he finds really bad, that that could set him off. I do see, what I'm seeing is that as this goes on, I'm seeing some temper issues coming up. So let's see what we have here leading up to that. I mean, as the summer, what I'm seeing is the summer heats up, so will he, because I suspect bad news from the Middle East. I think if something happens to BB where his wings are clipped in some way, that is going to really set him. It's going to really launch those ketchup bottles. Okay, leading up to this and the before is see upright. They're getting ready to grab those cups, but reverse. No. What this is talking about is this is the muskrat thing, like the alliance that he has had. There's an opportunity to use that, but he's not going to know that, and it's the paranoia of seeing everybody as the enemy. So this is starting to sound very Hitler 1945, actually. Okay, so in the After Tarot, the result of this is, ooh, yeah, this makes sense. Eight of Rods. Upright, he's ready to hit the bullseye. All of this stuff he's doing is going to miss the mark. And I'm kind of wondering about that big, horrible bill. I mean, there's a part of me that says, yeah, it'll probably pass. But I'm going to say, at the very least, they may not get it through by the 5th. They had an airline, and I thought it was so wonderful. Flights were halted from going into D.C. because of weather issues. So They're late in getting started, and so at the very least, that may not hit the mark of getting there by July the 4th. But I'm saying there's the possibility of it not passing. I mean, I keep hearing these rumblings from Margie and all this stuff that they don't have the votes. They may not make it out of the rules committee. So, okay, so opposition of this is, the Queen of Wands in reverse. So this is the ill-tempered, unfaithful wife. Oh, I wonder if this could be Melania. Trouble with Melania. I can't imagine she can even, well, she doesn't. I get she can, I didn't think she kind of looks like her too. Well, it does. Look at this. It does. Doesn't it kind of look like her? Okay, so this is the bad. Yeah, she's pretty much losing patience. I would say that, boy, she only comes out when she really needs to. I think for some reason what this is telling me is that this, to throw another interesting aspect, that there could be some. I know that it's only a superficial relationship at this point, but there could be something with her that could be setting him off even more. She is not helping. She's not helping at all. I think he wants to go back to his loving mate and this and that, and God knows he's not attractive enough to go. I guess he'd have to pay someone or something. But at any rate, yeah, now this could be another, and she may, for entertainment purposes only, she may be doing that on purpose, like, wow, he wasn't supposed to be around anymore, and I didn't sign on for 2 terms of this nonsense, because I think she hates being First Lady, so she may be stoking the fires here. Very interesting. So, in the past, we have here, again, we're getting ready to shoot a bunch of stuff off here. Well, this is upward. That's interesting. In the after, it's not going to hit the mark before he has had all of his rockets, arrows, whatever, aimed. But they're aimed in the sky. And some of them have done a lot of injure, but they may not be making the mark because of his cognitive stuff going on. So let's see here. In the present, we have, the Ten of Swords in reverse. Okay, so this is tens are always endings. This is in reverse, and in this one they're hovering over him. So this is talking about a lot of people that he thinks will be stabbing him in the back that in fact aren't, increasing paranoia. And even upright, they're hovering there, but this is in reverse. The growing paranoia that I would say as he pitches people away, this is only going to hurt him more. To me, this sounds like this is stuff that's accelerating, really, really accelerating. So, in the not too distant future, make sure, I think I did shuffle these, but I did put them in. Okay, so, in the very immediate future, like this weekend kind of future we have, he's not getting away with it. He's going to start to not to get away with stuff. I'm wondering, could be wrong. The cards are telling me that bill of his may not be so secure. Now, if it doesn't fail, it may be bogged down in there because they added a lot. Democrats added a lot. There were a lot of amendments. Some of them passed. They have to vote on those. The Democrats set it up in such a way that it's going to get bogged down. So he may not be getting away with things as quickly, which is really, really, really going to add. So And swords in reverse. Oh, we're getting swords in reverse. A lot of rods. Swords in reverse. It is you know, when I look at the groups that it indicates he's not going to be clear thinking. He just isn't going to be thinking clearly. I mean, I'm not getting away with this. I mean, this is stuff these things are setting him off, and I think this is accelerating the time. Now, I don't know if anybody has the cojones to invoke the 25th. What I saw today was 25th Amendment there. Devil in reverse in the previous readings is that if that doesn't happen, there may be other pressures as the devil loses his disciples. Okay, so going further into the future. Well, we've got the King of Swords here. So this is not him. This is about someone, this could be a Supreme Court thing, judicial thing, where they're ready, the sword of truth is there, they're ready to take it out, but they haven't wielded it yet. They may be waiting. Someone, in the judiciary may be waiting, holding off and waiting until this will really send him right over the edge. So he's hovering over there. And then we have going further into the summer. Okay, so again, minor arcana of the death card. In the aftermath of this, he's pretty much surrendered to just crying over spilled milk. I would say that upright in reverse, there is that too, but I would say that in reverse with its cups and the mental illness is that he may be devolving really back into the past. He may, this is that maybe this summer it'll be like he's thinking he's making real estate deals with his father and that he's back on The Apprentice. I'm telling you, this never occurred to me, but I would say that this is really heading to bonkers land, actually. And somebody knows that they pull that sword out of the ground, that's going to really do his mental health in. But this is sort of like he's going to go back into the past. It's back to childhood by the Page of Cups in reverse. Then we have further on into the future, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And this is the after, where she's letting it go back into the universe to bring in more abundance. But this one is, I'm going to say it's Melania holding on to the money. She's holding it out there, she's not going to let it go, but she's looking at her options. So Melania may be playing a part in this. Kind of makes me wonder if she's smelling blood in the water and maybe doing a little bit of gaslighting to push the process along. So let's see in the hopes and the fears. Hopes and the fears we have. As this gets really bad, the hopes of going back to the times when he thought he was happier in his younger days, and the fears is when he has his lucid moments that he's following his father's path, and maybe I think that's, I did hear the story that they would send Fred off to work and let him sign blank papers because they could send him back to the time when he had his mind together and he was a young real estate genius. And so I'm thinking that this is like going into the land of make believe, but at the same time the fear is when he has a few lucid moments like, oh, Daddy Dearest was like this. So To me, this is telling me this summer it's going to be, if they ignore this, I mean, come on, they cannot throw the Reagan comparison. Oh, well, the Reagan. No, this is beyond that. He may have had Alzheimer's, but I think it was like near the end of his term, but this is much, much worse. So the conclusion of this is, I'm just seeing like this summer is really, really bad. I'm wondering if he's going to make it into the, well, let's see. The conclusion is Cups in reverse. Oh my goodness, Cups in reverse again. Okay. This is pretty much whoever he thought he was partners with, that isn't going to happen, and it is because of Cups in reverse. It's because that they can no longer ignore his mental health. Now, I don't know if they have if they're brave enough to do the 25th Amendment, but what this is telling me is that someone who is very close to him in the administration, I always thought J.D. Vance was a loose cannon. I don't see him as being incredibly loyal, but it could be someone like a Laura Loomer who's had the hots for him. I don't get that, but or one of these people that he was incredibly, it's going to be a loyalty that is broken. That's the final straw. Absolutely the final straw. I want to draw a card just in a clarifier to see if there's... Okay, Two of Wands in reverse. This is telling me this is someone in a foreign land, and all I could think of is either it's Putin or it's Netanyahu. Maybe Two of Wands, maybe both. Maybe I think Putin's kind of chilled from him a little. I always said he'd realize that he really picked the wrong horse, because this guy is just, you never know what he's going to do next, actually. Very interesting. This means a couple of things. It means it could be two of them overseas, but I also think that this is overseas and in the U.S. too. And the Two of Cups here in reverse is it will be nationally and internationally. So someone, okay, the muskrat, that's, but this is going into the future. There will be one that's going to be a big shockaroony, I think. I don't know if it's any of his cabinet members, because I think they all know they're on shaky grounds, but this could be someone in an advisory position that we don't know that much about, but it's been with him for a long time. Yes, I'm seeing that depending on when those happen, and I think they're definitely on their way of happening, it could mean that these are and actually the straws that broke the camel's mental health. Very interesting. See, now this is something I didn't see until the cards. I knew I need to have the cards to clarify this, but I'm seeing the paranoia, which would lead to this breakup, plus people becoming aware of him losing his marbles, so to speak. So I am seeing him weaken. For some reason, with all of these wands, it's fire, it's summertime. We have the Queen of Wands, and although I know Melania is a Taurus, she and I have the same birthday. Not the same year, but the same birthday, if you can believe that. But this is in the season of Leo, because she's usually got the sunflowers, and yep, and the other deck, she's got the sunflowers. So this is very Augusty energy. So this kind of goes along with other readings, that there's something big that's going to break, and I think there's something else, politically, but I think it's a big part of it will be his mental health. absolutely convinced of that. So, with that, we shall see, and I will see you soon. Bye.